Jennifer Makumbi, you've just been awarded the Commonwealth Short Story Prize for your story, Let's Tell the Story Properly. Congratulations.
Thanks, Ella. Thanks very much.
How did it feel to be the winner of the prize in the year that the Commonwealth Foundation brought the prize to Uganda?
It was almost surreal because with writing, I've always associated it with Britain because that's where I've done it most of the time. But for it to come back home and to win back here where everyone was with all my family around me, it was surreal. It took me some time to get used to the idea that my mother is standing over here and my other members of the family were over there, and it's a literary prize.
I read in a recent interview that you had quoted Tabanda Leong, who said that Uganda was a literary desert. I don't know if it was Uganda specifically or East Africa. And you thought that a time had come where it was no longer a desert. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yes. Tabanda Leong, it was a very interesting gentleman, but he did say that Uganda is a literary desert. And it was a very heartbreaking, even though, fact. But it was heartbreaking because in the 1960s, Uganda was spearheaded, the whole African literary enterprise with Ngujis and Achebe. Young men came down to Makerere University and they were thinking, what is African literature? How are we going to, structure it? What is it going to look like? And it looked like Uganda would be, very much part of it. But for some reasons, historical reasons, we stayed behind while Kenya and Nigeria, carried on holding the torch for Africa. So yes, I felt that, this is the time we are now reviving our literary talent.
So would you say that sense of needing to tell the story of Uganda as you experienced it through your characters inspired you?
Yes, it does. It did. And I've been told this quite a few times by other, interviewers around Africa that, what does this mean for Uganda, or what does this mean to Uganda? And it is, yes, a big deal, and it did inspire me. And this is why when something like this happens, I first foremost put Uganda forward, just to remind those who say that, we're a literary desert, that, what, no, we're not.
Well, I think there's something laudable about that sense of representing your country and representing your region. But in the end, you're one writer writing stories that are very intimate and personal.
Yes.
Tell us about Let's Tell the Story Properly, the winning story.
This is a story about, a Ugandan couple immigrates to Britain and they're married. They got married in Britain, they have children, and like all couples in Britain, they dream of coming back, so they put up a house in Uganda for that time. When the children have gone off to university, we're going back to Uganda. But it doesn't happen, so her husband dies and the wife, gets to return the husband back home, only to find out that she's not the widow after all.
So it's a story about betrayal.
It is.
It's a story that I guess, judging by the reaction of the audience at the prize ceremony, it's one that many people recognize.
Yes.
What made you feel that it would be a story that the people in the rest of the world would recognize as well?
Well, as you said, Ella, it's a story of betrayal, and it's a betrayal that is so intimate, that is so close to home. And it's perhaps the fear of everybody married or everyone living in the diaspora, because you're far away from home. There's that gap between where you were and home, and perhaps you don't know what is in that gap. So people do relate to that. And even back home here, it does happen, someone is married to someone in another city, and, in another city something else is going on. So it's a familiar story all around the world.
And what you're talking about is really sort of that distance between a contemporary modern way of living and more traditional way of living.
Yes.
And one of the things that's interesting about your story is that you use quite traditional methods of storytelling. There's almost a call and response at one point.
Yes.
Can you speak a little bit about the different ways that you use language in your short story? And was there something particularly about the way that Ugandans in general are dramatic storytellers that informed your writing?
Oh, yes. We are very dramatic people. You should listen to us when we speak, but especially women, and especially women in the villages. You know, it's not just the word, it's the gestures, it's the tone. And yes, I took that into storytelling. I felt that I can't tell a Ugandan story in straight English. It just dies. So I thought if I use, a few words that are Ugandan, and these are words that you don't need to translate because they're more exclamatory. You don't need to know. You just the sense is there. The emotion is in the word. So I took license at that, and I'm glad the judges loved it. But I thought that when your emotion, all the language lets you down and you just go for sounds and particular words and you're not careful, and I thought I shouldn't be very careful in the story.
One of the things that Commonwealth Writers hopes is that the regional winners will inspire other submissions from the region.
Yes.
What do you say to the young Jennifer Makumbi who's sort of watching you win the prize and thinking, oh, I could do that?
Oh God. First of all, as you noticed, my story wasn't so out of this world. It's a local story, and I told it in very simple English, and I told it naturally, the way I would tell it if I was sitting next to my sisters and we're just talking about this incident. So I would advise young Ugandan writers, just tell the story naturally. It's very important to tell it naturally, but also share it with people around you to help you, edit a little bit. And perhaps if there's a writing group somewhere, take it to them and ask them, what do you think? And what they say, do consider it seriously, to hone your craft, or to, shape your story properly. And then you must enjoy your story. If you read it and you think this is hilarious, or this is heartbreaking, or this is wonderful, then people will enjoy it.
Jennifer, this is your first international prize.
Yes.
But you've been working at the craft for a while now.
Indeed.
You've studied creative writing.
Yes.
And teach it.
Yes.
And you're just about to launch your first novel.
Indeed.
It's been a long road.
Absolutely.
Tell us about the work of being a writer.
Oh my God, it's been such a long road. And yesterday everyone was asking me, oh, you have done it. And I would think of the 13 years I've been working alone on my computer and studying and reading, and I say, you have no idea where I came from. Yes, because I left Uganda in 2001 and went to study in Britain. And by the way, I didn't even have the money for the course. My friend told me, you come here, you work, you pay your fees. And that's what I did. And I finished my first novel, and it didn't work out. And I'm glad it didn't work out because I grew older in terms of writing. And then I went and did a PhD in creative writing, and then started teaching. And teaching has been very, very helpful, because there you are sitting in front of students saying, no, you can't do that. And then you go back and do it in your own short stories. So that has been quite helpful. But in those 10 years, rather 13 years, I've been working a lot. So I have a body of writing just sitting there that I can go back to and say, oh, there's a competition here, what can I build up and send in. So yes, I've done quite a lot, and I've been working at it for a long time.
It's a joy that all of this hard work is finally coming to fruition.
Indeed.
Yeah. Congratulations, Jennifer Makumbi, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Ellah. Thanks for having me here.